Okay, students, this is a video on quadratics. Students, this is a video on quadratics and the calculator. What you see before you is an emulator for the computer. So this is a TI-84, the calculator that I have been showing you, and I'm just doing this to be different and to see how this comes across. So let's take a few minutes and look at quadratics on the calculator. Let's type in here, let's go to our equation editor here, and let's type in here x squared, okay? And we'll graph that. Alright, so we're familiar with this. Now, I'm curious, if I go to the equation editor and I move down and I type in 2, let's see, left parentheses, x minus 3 squared minus 4. I want to ask the question, what will this graph look like? Will it look like a parabola, okay, or a quadratic? Of course, the answer is yes. Which way will it be moved? Which way does the minus 3 move it? Which way does the minus 4 move it? And what does the 2 do to the quadratic? And so we could graph that. Okay, if you notice on the screen, it moved it to the right 3 and down 4, which is what we expected. Alright, let's go back to the equation editor, just clear that out. Okay, and I'm curious, what's going to happen if we type in here x squared minus 1 and graph? Okay, now we could zoom in on that if we want to. Zoom in, that's 2, okay, and hit enter. My question to you is, what are the roots? In other words, if I use the trace key and I go over here and I'm trying to find where is the y value 0, the y value 0, it's around here somewhere. I mean, I could guess maybe 1.001 maybe, or well, that's pretty close right there. It kind of looks like 1. Let's try 1. Okay, yes, that is one root. And how about negative 1? Type in negative 1. And oh, there's the other root too. So this is a way to find roots on a quadratic equation. Now, is there another way that we could describe, or is there another graph that we could use to illustrate the idea of finding roots? Now notice I have x squared plus 1, and here I am going to graph. Now here's my question. You know, if I look at the trace key, I know that y equals x squared plus 1 is a quadratic equation. But I want to know where the roots are. Well, the question really is asking, where is this graph touching the x-axis at? And the answer is, it is not. And it's possible for you to find the root to set that equation here equal to 0, and you would end up with complex answers. Complex answers or imaginary answers don't fit the x-axis, don't touch the x-axis, so please keep that in mind. Now, let's see, let's pause here for a second. Okay, my question is, we already graphed the top function, and if we multiplied this out, I believe we would get, this would be x squared minus 6x plus 9. So that would give us 2x squared. That would give us a minus 12x. And a minus 9, well, it would be 9 times 2, which is 18. 18 minus 4 is 14. It does appear that they're the same graph. So I wonder what's going to happen if we hit graph. Okay, now I did not change my window, so I'm going to hit zoom standard. Okay, so here's the first graph. And if you notice, it's working over here, but I didn't see the second graph. I could go back to the equation editor, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to the left, and I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to give me some other options. I call this the paintball. Okay, so I've got that selected. Now I'm going to graph. Here's the first graph. and here's the second graph. So notice that the two graphs are the same. That's a good way to understand that, or to see that. Okay, I'd like to end up this lesson by trying to figure out what the roots are to these two equations, to this equation here. Let me go back to the equation editor, and I'll just clear that function there, okay? And we're looking back at the graph, but let's change our window while we're sitting here. Let's change, let's go to, oh, well, let's change a window. Let's say -1 to 9, and let's go down here -10 to 5, and hit graph and see how that changes that window. Okay, now what we're trying to find is we're trying to find the roots here. Okay, where does the graph cross the x-axis? Remember, these are 1, so 1.1, well, that's 2, so 1.6 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 4.4. Well, let's see, let's hit the trace. 1.6, okay, that's pretty close, and 4.4, and that's pretty close too. Now what if I needed to know the exact value, or close to the exact value? The way to do that, I'm going to go back and locate myself over here. Let me go, I'm close to this root here. I could go to a function or feature of the calculator called intersection. The way that I do that is I go to the blue calc feature by selecting second calc, and I'm going to look at number 5, intersect. Now it says, which one of these is your first curve? Well, no, we don't need to hit intersect. Sorry about that. We need to hit 0, which is feature 2. Okay, so it says, what's the left side? Well, the left side of the zeros right here, it's to the left of where it crosses here, so I'm going to say okay. All right, what's the right side? So the right side is right here, okay? And so it's saying these are your domain values here. Where in here is the 0? It's going to use the intermediate value theorem to locate that. So I'm going to say that's my guess. I'll hit enter. Now you notice how more accurate my answer is. So hopefully that helps you understand how to locate zeros. Now this is kind of a lazy way to do it. I do want to encourage you to know all of the different ways to figure out the value. And also keep this in mind, this is really an approximate answer. It's pretty, it's pretty refined, okay, several decimal places, but it is not totally it's not fully accurate. It's a rounded answer. So keep that in mind. That's a little bit about the calculator and quadratics, and I hope this was interesting to you.